Guardian, we've picked up a high-gain transmission. Origin point is somewhere along the coast, near the Cosmodrome.
What is up, Guardians? This is Cosmodrome Radio, broadcasted from a Russian spaceport all the way to Titan, because yes, as of today, because the show will be live in the future as of we recorded this episode, but as of today, it will be the season of the deep. We are going back to Titan, and it's gonna be a great time. And only David gets that reference, and it's gonna be fun. But but no, this is Cosmodrome Radio, the podcast all about Destiny 2 and the great things about it. We love every week talking with you about this game that we love. There's so much great stuff to talk about this week, from developer interviews on other podcasts to the different articles that have come out about the new season. Things are getting spicy, and we are going to go ahead and dive into all of that. All of it. Spicy. So don't forget, folks, that you can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Audible, iHeartRadio, all those great places. You can find links to that all over our Twitter, as well as if you join the Discord, those links are available for you to grab in the Discord. Join the community, hang out with us. We're going to be starting doing some cool stuff. Like, we're going to have different discount codes for our merch. Check out the merch at shop.cosmodromeradio.com. So definitely make sure that you are looking out for that. Guardian games are over, and we are going to be having a special discount code for the Titan variant of our Guardian Games t-shirt, the red variant, where you will be able to get 10% off that, because Titans have dominated. Ooh. So make sure that you cop the Guardian Games t-shirt in the shop. It was designed by our amazing artist, Sin. Make sure that you check that out right there. We are going to go ahead and dive into all of this awesomeness. My name is Panda the Paladin. To my left, we have apparently someone who will decide to actually grace us with his presence. Thought he was a ghost today, said he was off work and couldn't find him for a Defiant Battleground today. Alchemy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. I've just been feeling burnout from the season. So
it's the last day. I understand that. That's fair. I want my brightness though. But it's cool. But I'm glad you're alive. It's gonna be a great season. To my right, we have the person who decided to do laundry during a podcast, but also is shooting hobgoblins during a podcast. Doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. Tower, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, and I'm done, bro. Nah. See. You're talking about freaking me shooting hobgoblins and doing laundry. No. See, I'm not doing that right now. I was doing that last time, getting my freaking solo flawless lost sectors done.
Ah, gotcha. See, I did mine when it was the easy day over in the excavation side. I did my stuff on an easy day.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I ended up doing a Fellion's Rest.
Oh, you poor person. Oh, no.
You see, when I did mine on the, it's the one in Zephyr's, the Lost Sector in Zephyr's on the Amuna. And then I think I did my Masters on the other one, on the other side of the map.
Oh, man, that sounds so bad. That sounds so horrible.
It really wasn't. Gilded Precept is honestly.
I tip my hat to you, because I could not do those. The fact that I was able to freaking solo flawless a Fellion's Rest,
pretty impressive.
That blew me away, because y'all know I'm not all that great with that solo content. So.
Right. And then we have our sneaky hunter sliding in the back door, the man who claims he's the best hunter in the clan. Dave, how you doing, buddy?
Is it a claim if it's true? Like, come on now. You know what?
Fair enough. But how you doing, man? You ready for this new season?
I can't wait. I've been sitting here biding my time. Like, look, I don't want to burn out too much, so I gave myself a little break this week. Bright dust be damned. I said,
Man,
you
I
know
need the
what?
bright does. I got 2 more Legend Defying Battlegrounds to do, and I got it. So I'm excited. And
Well, get
then
with me when we get done. I got you.
bet. And then after having we had to like do some scheduling, but I made it work because after seeing the spice that was being thrown out on the Twitter, I had to get her in, y'all. I had to get her in. Now she has joined me in the greatness that not only of being a panda is, but of being a Titan is. And I feel so much more akin to her. This greatness. PvP savage herself, Panda Pandel. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm all right, all things considered. And shit is really, spicy's a good word for it,
Hell yeah. But why don't you tell folks, like, what's your ghost story? Like how'd you get into Destiny and whatnot?
Well, so my girlfriend, I met her, and like when I was younger, basically I used to play Halo. So when I met my girlfriend a few years ago, she played this game. And I was just kind of vibing with her. I saw her play it. I was like, yo, this game looks really sick. All the gunplay looked sick. Everything about it looked sick. I was like, you know what? This is a Bungie game. I'm going to play this game. So I played this shit. And then basically started in Season of Arrivals. And that's really it. Like, it was just kind of like I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and my girl was playing it. And I just thought the game was really sick. You know what I'm saying?
I feel it. And like don't be afraid to jump in. We got a lot of stuff to cover. So like please add your opinions. We like it spicy here. We're gonna be dropping hot takes. I know I know Alchemy's about to be sweating over this sweet business shit, and I'm not having it. And I'm not excited.
Yo, that shit is so bad. That shit is like, what the fuck?
Gonna be really
I'm glad someone agrees with me, because even as a Titan, I'm very much like, why are we doing this?
I played in Trials this week. Me and my homie Tigga, we went and we tried to go flawless, and there was a team of 2 sweet business Titans together, and we lost.
That's tragic. That's tragic.
You gotta remember the
We lost.
power of sweet business, Panda. It is an impressive weapon.
Well, let's go ahead and dive into the Wednesday article, because they decided to announce a bunch of changes, including the sweet business stuff. So, the big like highlight for a lot of people when it came to accessibility that was really cool was they're going to be working on changing the hipfire reticles and the FOV for a bunch of different guns. Things like fusion rifles, hand cannon, sidearms, and trace rifles are getting a big like change there. But also they're doing some experimental stuff when it comes to custom weapon reticles, like things for like Salvation's Grip, Devil's Ruin, Grand Overture, Ace of Spades. That way you can see how many Memento Mori counts you have. Different things like that. And I really dig that, because it gets really frustrating when like the left side of your screen is getting very cluttered. So to have that in your hipfire reticle, that sounds really cool, especially they're doing Traveler's Chosen, like Lumina Noble rounds. I think that'll be really good for the game. Like they're not getting rid of them on the left side, but they're adding them to the hipfire reticle. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's less clutter. And plus, I've had times where that buff will push out like a raid buff.
And it will drive you nuts.
Yes.
Because I honestly think there's a limit of you can have up to 6 buffs. Because I had armor charge, something else, raid buff, my weapon buff, a well of radiance, and then another one, I think. I can't remember. But it pushed out the raid buff, and I didn't have it.
Yeah.
That's tragic. So like we have things like Quicksilver Storm's grenade count's gonna be there. The Manticore beat meter, the Hawk Moon counts. Agar Scepter is gonna get it. Teraba, Touch of Malice, Cryostasia, Trinity Ghoul. The Vex is gonna get its charge meter there too. So this is definitely gonna be a really cool change.
Storm Silver is getting it.
So we would have to peek for that.
Well, I'm surprised Quickstorm Silver is getting it, because it shows you how many grenades you have on the gun.
They might just be modifying like how it looks on the hipfire reticle. So it'll be interesting to see how it looks. Plus, not everyone like sees the little like hexagonal thing on the gun, so like it might be better for people to have it as the hipfire reticle.
Yeah.
And then the big thing that a lot of different artists were hyped about that I think is just funny. Bungie is going to make it that when you inspect a gun, you can fully rotate it on the screen now.
Yeah.
Now I can finally see how my shaders are gonna look. The drip is about to be immaculate.
And for someone to just make their down scroll to make it rotate, and just see someone just spin the raiding shotgun at like 1,000 rotations per second.
Jesus.
One of the only did that. They posted up a clip that they took in testing on the Twitter, and it literally was the epitome of like freaking culture club.
Oh yeah, yo, did you see the full auto melee? What about Titans? You're gonna love that.
That's what we're diving into next, and like that's what they're going to be doing specifically. And when it comes to full auto melee, is similar to full auto firing, which is making it like more of an accessibility feature. That way, you are able to. But my biggest thing with this, though, we already are dealing with a major issue right now with rubber banding and the overextension of your melee. So while this is going to be really convenient for people, I worry about people who haven't figured out how to map your charged melee and your uncharged melee to different slots, like to different button commands. Because
mine's separated.
I honestly think it's going to cause some major uproar in the PvP community.
Oh, most definitely. I think it's going to have a major.
Why? Wait, why? What part of it?
Because if they do not fix the rubber banding issues and everything else, all you're going to see is just rubber banding Titans everywhere.
Punch. I mean, well, from what we know specifically, that Ophidians is losing its extension similar to Synthoceps. Knockout is getting a meter decrease. So the only thing that has really the potential to rubber band extremely right now is going to be Synthoceps. So
no, that Warlock melee. Remember the one that you can slide and then press your charged melee? That thing is broken. Yeah. That thing's free flawless.
Be interesting.
Free flawless for real. You roll that and just like slide up. You can't do anything.
Yeah,
like
I'm on my Warlock running and it's build exclusive for just sliding.
What is it? It's called Touch or no, I'm not even on the Warlock right now.
Surge.
Thunder Slide.
Lightning Surge. That thing is broken.
So we'll have to like wait and see how that goes, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with that specifically. So from there, with like the article does move into different like weapon archetypes that are going to be changing. The big one that everyone is very excited about is that aggressive submachine guns are taking the hit. They are taking the major hit because not only are you seeing aggressive submachine guns getting their base damage dropped from 15 to 14 per hit, and which makes the precision hit multiplier 1.45 to 1.5. We will then be seeing Immortal like get dropped in terms of his base range down to 10. And that was the big thing that a lot of people were saying that was wrong with Immortal. Like, yeah, target lock is a major issue, but the range on that thing was absurd to where you could outpace auto rifles and pulse rifles in duels with SMG. And that is insanity.
Rangefinder rules are still going to be good. In my opinion, rangefinder rules are still going to be good because that's going to give a little bit of that back right there, right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? Anything with like tap to trigger, because like mine's tap to trigger rangefinder, and that's just like additional stability on trigger pull for no reason. So there's a lot of roles of this that are going to slip through the cracks, in my opinion, where like you're going to still get mapped by this thing.
Yeah, because honestly, it's not really a rangefinder nerf, it's more the nerf of the gun.
Exactly, the archetype itself.
Yeah, once they were nerf rangefinder, that's when people are going to really feel.
And there is talks about re-looking into rangefinder as a perk, but they're also going to be changing over, changing the damage fall off to a lot of guns like in the near future in Season 22. So that'll definitely play a factor in what happens with that. So we'll have to wait and see specifically, but I definitely feel that this will level the playing field somewhat. But we'll have to wait and see specifically.
because
It's gonna help a little bit, but I think that it's still gonna be like a real meta choice because other than multi-mock in that slot, you've got this that really just dominates right now. And I feel like people don't have multi-mock, so people are gonna probably still chase this if they didn't. I don't think they pulled it out of the pool, did they?
They
No.
pulled
I
it out
think
of the
it's
pool. Well, Immortal's
This-
still in the pool, so it's still able to be
Yeah.
chased.
But
Yeah,
this
so people are gonna
weekend
chase
was
it.
the last weekend to get it before.
Oh no, I stayed out of trials. I wasn't worried about that. That wasn't I'm good.
Yeah, I was saying before the pre-nerfs and everything.
Right. And then from there we have sniper rifles that are getting a PVE like increase, but Izanagi will not receive the buff. So do not think for a second. But
Whisper of
they
the
didn't say Whisper wasn't getting it. No, what's
No, Darcy.
Are you a Whisper the Worm main?
Oh, I love me some Whisper. I love me some Whisper. So,
Well,
like,
no,
it's gonna
you're
be a
gonna
fun
see
time.
me running Darcy.
Well, no, and that's the crazy thing. Some people were saying that like Darcy might might see some play because of it being rapid fire, but apparently in one of the dev interviews, like they straight up said, "Hey, yo, we understand. Like we've heard the argument of why not make Darcy a special weapon when that would just take away from the uniqueness of it being the way it is, and also Cloud strikes in that slot, so you wouldn't see." Many people messing with Darcy if it was made a special weapon. So I can see it, but like I'm choosing Whisper over Darcy any day of the week. I don't care what anyone says. And then
I
Scout
love
rifles,
Darcy. I love Darcy. Darcy's bae, but I feel that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Darcy's
And then-
bae, and honestly, I'm more of a Darcy. I'm a Darcy lover. I fucking love Darcy so much.
Yes.
And
I remember
then-
More
Darcy
people need to use her because she's a
that,
really good gun.
Also,
it's
she's
cool for analyzing, but
Yeah, that part. I was about to say, I love analyzing shit with it.
So
Yeah,
now
you
we're going into
too,
the
as well.
exotic territory. The exotic territories where stuff gets spicy. So, Eyes of Tomorrow has seen no play outside of Gambit, and it is now getting a buff to where every time one of your rockets kills 4 people, you get rocket ammo refunded. So make sure you hit your shots wisely, kids.
It's like Mulligan, but for hits.
Yeah. Graviton Lance is getting the same treatment that Revision Zero's 2-round burst did. So now you're gonna see have an increased RPM from 257 to 300, and then you're going to see the body damage increase for the first shot and the crit damage increase for the first shot, while it get dropped on the second shot. So Graviton Lance might actually be kind of meta, and I'm kind of hyped for it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
In PvE? In PvP or PvE?
I'm saying PvE specifically, like because like and we might see it in meta speed in PvP as well. We might see like the return of Graviton.
Yo, if I start getting hit in the face with that, I might cry.
Oh no.
Like that thing has such a that thing sounds scary. It's like you're like
And then Jade Rabbit specifically, like they're making it easier to just like have text on your screen to see the Fate of All Fools perk activate, and then quickly hitting 3 critical hits now refunds 3 shots instead of 1 to the mag. So
I have that in my inventory on my Warlock.
That's terrifying. Manticore, a gun that literally no one asked for, is getting some changes to make it worth a damn. They're making it so the damage resistance once you have the catalyst go from tier 3 to tier 4, and they're making have increased movement speed while you're floating in the air. I still don't see a purpose for this gun. Like unless you just have a strong urge to fly, I don't see a reason for this gun to exist. I'm sorry.
Honestly, it's actually really fun on Strand.
Hey now, this is the one thing that allows hunters to fly.
It's
The one thing in this game that allows hunters to actually fly. Let them have it.
Exactly. It's actually like, as far as I look at it, it's a pretty good movement tool for Strand hunters to allow you to take a couple different angles. But it's just fun to grapple around and actually fly around and shoot shit. And, with this season just passing, you had Volatile Fro for free. So you got Volatile on it just for picking up orbs. It's pretty crazy.
That's just so good.
You missed out on a fun niche thing to do. if you didn't play with it. But ultimately, I still stand where I stand with my Twilight Garrison. Hunter should get some aerial movement tech expeditiously, so I don't have to rely on a fucking exotic gun to make my Spider-Man fantasy come true.
Fair enough. Lumina is getting its Noel round cap expanded from 5 to 6. So that's kind of cool for people who love Lumina.
I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try it on my Warlock.
It'll be kind of interesting. Diva's gonna have a fun time because Heart Shadow is getting its damage increased.
I don't have that. Oh,
Heart Shadow! It's such a pretty sword. It does shit.
Like, they're making the damage increase activate faster. It'll be activating at 0.25 seconds instead of 1 second. And Heart Shadow now weakens upon dealing any damage while the damage increase is active. So, like, it does all the things now.
Yep, exactly what it needed. It needed a little bit of boost.
I'm not really going to worry about World Line 0. Speedrunners, you can have your World Line 0 do some cool stuff. They're making like the Sword Guard energy do some stuff, and they're increasing the damage when the sprint heavy attack is active. Now let's talk about Sweet Business, because Sweet Business should not be sweet motherfucking business.
Sweet motherfucking business, bro.
Why?
Sweet business.
So Sweet Business, they're making it so on the after firing 20 shots. Fewer shots while fully spin up. They don't say how many shots, but it just says fewer shots while fully spin up. It will start to fire explosive rounds. And Proctor said
it doesn't have an innate unstop after that buff. I'm gonna be confused.
It doesn't have an innate unstop, no.
No.
But they did say that and we are gonna have anti-mirror auto rifle this season, so by all means have fun with that. Proctor did say it had
GMs.
Proctor did say that it will have a similar effect, like bloom effect as explosive payload, but it does more damage than explosive payload. So that'll be interesting. I'm concerned. I don't know why this was necessary, but okay.
It was very, very necessary.
No, it was not.
Okay. Just hear me out. Okay. Sweet Business has actually seen a significant drop in usage in the game, because it just does not compare with other high rate of fire auto rifles.
Rufus.
It doesn't. It
Rufus
doesn't even.
Is so good.
Yeah, exactly. Heck, it doesn't even compare to my Perpetualis.
Gnawing Hunger.
Yes, Gnawing Hunger, exactly. These are all high rate of fire auto rifles that, even though Sweet Business does have that really great spin up, it doesn't compare to other auto rifles. I
agree with that. I agree with that so hard, actually.
Adding that in and giving it more of a specialized perk as an exotic with the explosive rounds intrinsically. One, it makes it an exotic kinetic that does a really, really good job at what it does, but it also makes it comparable to something like deterministic chaos, which it can be a good alternative for if you need like an anti-barrier or an unstoppable weapon, but you also need something that does DPS, like really, really good DPS in your heavy slot. So it turns Sweet Business into a very good alternative option. So that way you still have a valid DPS slot open in your heavies.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah, for real.
We'll have to see what happens to it. I just think it's kind of scary.
It's scary in a PvP sense.
It's going to be terrifying in PvP, and you're going to hear me. You're going to hear me laughing like a motherfucking goon from here all the way to Neomuna.
Jesus. Anyway, now for Panda to be excited. Me, Panda. Because Legend of Acreus, the big shotgun, is getting some boost because not only are we increasing the ammo amount from 12 to 16, but we are increasing the maximum projectile distance from 9 meters to 12 meters. So this thing is going to do damage, and I'm excited because they already made a great change with it recently when they made it so you no longer are slowed while using it. You have full range of movement, and now they're like, hey, we're just gonna like make it even better. And I'm like, bang. So you about to see me rolling around as like full mag and this thing is going bang. And now with the no backup plan changes, I'm about to be cooking. So it's gonna be a good time.
Let's have
let him cook.
People to farm roll.
Speaking of cooking, Tommy's matchbook is they're making it so the catalyst when overheated not only hurts you, but it scorches other people. So for every 5 shots, it applies 14 plus 7 if you have ever matches equipped of rounds of scorch. So you could, like, if you have a Loreley Titan that's just kind of chilling, you could do some bad damage with a Tommy's matchbook this season. That'll be kind of fun for people. PVE change for no time to explain. They're making it so the little time bubble thing actually hurts anti-barriers when anti-barrier pulse rifle is a thing. So good there. Salvation's grip is actually going to do a thing, guys. Oh my god, it's insane.
Finally!
So they're making it so it has 2 different firing modes. The charged shot creates a pattern of stasis crystals, while the uncharged shot is a normal grenade launcher shot. So that'll be a good way to chain different things together.
Pretty much Vegas curve the heavy, pretty much.
Yeah, like that. Like they even I think it was Merc who said during the Firing Range podcast that the same team who worked on Verglaw Curve with like the bow worked on the rework for Salvation's grip. So that's really cool to see. Bad Juju apparently was using a recoil like system the same as an auto rifle. So,
I know. Oh my god!
Finally fixing Bad Juju. Praise the gods! I'm really excited about that.
I'll finally be able to use my very first exotic again.
Right. I love Bad Juju as a pulse rifle feed. I love me some Bad Juju, so I'm excited. This one hurts my heart. I'm sad. Fighting Lion apparently was doing increased damage to red bars that it wasn't supposed to. But so they're going to be putting it back to what it was supposed to be, but they're still going to include the 40% buff to all exotic primaries that did occur, but it still will not be doing the amount of damage it did this season, which is very depressing. So RIP.
It's necessary. Like, look, it was doing more than it was supposed to.
Now, pour one out.
Pour one out for a champ, man. Fighting Lion was a goat.
Pour one out for a real one.
That thing right there is the only reason why I completed the Mars Battleground GM. So like, pour one out for a champ, man. I gotta do it. Thunderlord apparently has this entire season, despite everyone thinking it was the GOAT, everyone thinking it was like the second coming of lightning. Apparently that was not what's supposed to happen. Apparently, when hitting certain crits, especially on a divinity bubble, it was doing double lightning strike. So they're going to be changing it that way. It does not do double lightning strikes per crit. So
wait, what was
Thunderlord? So that you're definitely going to see a lot like the DPS meta shift a little bit. But I want to touch on this specifically real quick. To all LFG buttholes, listen up.
Oh,
I have a real problem in the Bungie community right now. Where
I started a TikTok on this.
Like I didn't even make a TikTok about it. I haven't even made a TikTok about it yet. But I have a specific problem with people shaming people for wanting to use Thunderlord because everyone's like, "Why don't you just use Izanagi or rockets?" Have you seen how many people blow themselves up with rockets in this community? Do you not understand that like we literally just exited a linear fusion rifle meta that was so easy to pick up that Bungie gave everybody a busted linear at the beginning of Witch Queen to make DPS more accessible to people? Rockets are not, like, while they are the best DPS in the game technically right now, and they were even before Thunderlord made DPS accessible for a lot of people when it came to raiding. So, like, there would be multiple LFGs that I would go into, and people would be like, why are you running Thunderlord? Hell, Thunderlord is the only reason why me and a bunch of British and German guys got through a Master Nezarec the other day off of an LFG because rockets weren't cutting it because Nezarec kept bouncing us into the air. So, like, in general, regardless of this being a bug or not, I really need people to start, like, stop with the shaming of DPS in the community. Like, this old school Galahorn or quick type stuff needs to go. Like, literally, and you can get anybody through a raid, even if they're holding a freaking cost off. Like, it can be done. So stop treating people like crap. We can figure it out. We can give them a Palmera B rocket launcher if they don't have a bump in the night, like type stuff. We can figure it out. And
people are so picky. People are so shitty about meta. I learned that the hard way.
That was my little rant there.
You gotta tell people sometimes, like, look, I know a lot of people get used to getting things done the way they were taught the first time, but the game is all about variety.
Exactly.
Like, even I have to tell people sometimes, like, yeah, look, when we go into raids, I know we're all used to doing our particular role, but sometimes you gotta get outside your comfort zone and learn something new. Try something new.
Exactly.
Now, moving into a couple of different perks that they're changing. Fragile Focus is getting a little bit easier to use, where they're making it so until your shield pops, you still have the ability to use the perk. It's not just immediately when you take damage. And I'll be the one to say it. Fragile Focus is solely meant for people who know for a fact they're never going to get hit before they can shotgun people. Like those top percentage of PvP players.
Hey, my Inquisitor Adept role is perpetual motion opening shot or fragile focus. I'm sitting here licking my lips. I'm waiting.
I love that thing because I have an Inquisitor Adept with perpetual motion opening shot. But my biggest thing is look at a gun like what was the season of the haunted shotgun that I can't stand?
Shit, I can't remember.
How about damn it.
But like that gun specifically,
it's called Without Remorse.
Yeah, Without Remorse. Without Remorse is a very weird gun that everybody picked up specifically, where it has like threat detector and fragile focus are like the main perks that are appealing about it. And people play like other than like I think it has elemental capacitor. It has no good PvP perks, but people cling to it because it has decent stats plus fragile focus. And it really boggles my brain where it's like there are so many better shotguns, there are so many better like the tools at your disposal, but you choose the shotgun that has almost no perks that are usable on it, but because it has good stats, you're going to use it. That's what really boggles my brain about fragile focus specifically. But that's just me.
I know it's crazy, but it's crazy that they put it on a slug. I'm so excited next season to try this thing.
Right. Thresh, Demolitionist, and Pugilist are making it so they act with glaives as well, not just with shotguns, fusions, and sniper rifles, because apparently all of those specials were having increased energy from those perks, but now glaives get that bonus as well. So for all you fiends that crafted Demolitionist Judgment of Kelgroths, you now get to reap those benefits as well. Reconstruction Reconstruction is being simplified more and more to be usable on more guns. I don't like it. I wanted Reconstruction and Rewind rounds to stay raid specific, but Bungie seems to fight me on it, so whatever. But Chris Proctor did say that in the future, specifically on a raid rocket launcher, we need to be looking out for a rocket launcher to have Reconstruction and a new perk called Bipod. So sounds like Tripod from D1. I'm excited to see what happens with that. Shoot to loot is they're making it so you can shoot it to pick up orbs of power. So that's gonna be fun. That way you can shoot orbs of power from long range and be able to reap those benefits as well. So that'll be a fun time from there. Moving into the TWAB, though. TWAB was a little less spicy, but it still had some pretty cool stuff in it. They specifically talked about how the new strand perks are going to be activating. The one for the Hunter is going to be like you're playing Dishonored because you can make a shadow clone or a threaded clone of yourself with your dodge and be able to like make enemies shoot it, and once they shoot it enough, it'll like break and suspend them.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say they're leaning into the Naruto aspect for hunters, and I'm really happy for them.
Now, one thing I liked that they said, they talked about it on the Firing Range podcast with Merck and Eric Smith. They specifically said that while it'll be pretty easy to like distinguish in PvP which is the shadow clone and which is the person, the shadow clone pings on a radar and shows the person's name above it. So that's gonna get kind of annoying for a hot minute. It'll be hard to adjust, but that'll be interesting to
look, as a hunter, look, if you guys haven't already got your Gemini gestures ready, you're wrong. I'm sorry. Look, I'm about to be a fucking menace. You come around that corner, oh, I got him, boom. It's gonna be over with. I'm not playing no games with nobody. I already got the build decked out.
All right.
That's
the Titan Fletchet Storm. Bungie, I'm tired. I'm tired of you recycling the uppercut from Howl the Storm. Please, like the minute they even announced what this perk did in the first TWAB they did it, I straight up went, "Wow, it's Howl of the Consecration Part 3." Like we need to find different things for Titans to do besides swing up in the air and activate something. Granted, the idea that you get a long range projectile thing for your Titan to throw unraveling waves at things is cool. But I don't see myself doing this a lot compared to the rest of the build because the current Titan build's pretty sustainable in in-game content. I don't see it worth my time. And also, I'm getting really tired of the recycling of the uppercut thing. It's just, it feels lazy, but I'm excited. Like, if it does do cool stuff, cool, I'm down. But I need to see variety in the Titan kit. That's my big thing. Now, Warlocks. Y'all get to straight up just throw like threadlings at things and watch them explode, which is kind of freaking cool, I will say.
Babies for tower.
Yes. Okay. Let me talk about this aspect because this aspect freaking makes my heart happy as an infinite threadling build user, because one of the most important things that I miss out on is being able to use my abilities like Titans do and like hunters do, or use my grenades, because I have to sacrifice a grenade in order to use, in order to be able to
throw your tangles, which is kind of cool.
But what it does too is, so one, the tangle suspends. And then when the enemy explodes from that suspension, it creates more threadlings. So it makes my infinite baby build even more valid. But like this season, especially in particular, suspension was what was used for unstoppables. And so if they go back, if they go back to using suspension for unstoppable or even overload, that allows me to have that extra ability in order to be able to actually be valid in lost sectors without having to give up the functionality of my build.
That's fair.
Yeah. So I really like it. One, of course, y'all know I love my baby build. Anything that gives me more babies. But now I have additional functionality, and that makes me really happy.
Fair enough. Now, for this artifact, Bungie finally has made it, and I love this. Praise to all Bungie for this. They have made it so you don't have to continually reset your artifact to switch to different perks. They are making it so you can deselect one and select another with the artifact.
Thank God.
Thank
That's such a fucking small quality of life change, but that's like massive. Like what?
Yes.
So we know we're getting anti-barrier auto rifle. It's the only anti-barrier we're getting, and I'm pissed. We're getting unstoppable hand cannon again. Bungie, where's my overload hand cannon? I ain't seen overload hand cannon since Season of the Splicer, and I miss it. Let me have it, please.
Yo,
I thought they had it for a season of the Seraphs.
Nope.
I think my favorite is anti-barrier sniper out of all of them.
Anti-barrier sniper was great, but and I want to see it come back, especially in the new system, because back in the day when anti-barrier sniper was a thing, you straight up had to pay like 5 in the artifact for it. So now that it's not connected to your armor, I'm excited to see that come back at some point.
I forgot about how pricey it was.
Overload scout rifle. Why are we making scout rifles overload? Why can't we just have overload hand cannon, Bungie, please? Overload trace rifle though is gonna be fun. Because that means every trace rifle, not just divinity, is overload.
Overload cold heart.
Oh god.
Overload cold heart. Overload wave splitter. Overloads agriceptor.
Ooh, overload. Freaking what's that one? What's the other void? Trace rifle that I love that has the balls.
Oh, the one where you can turn people into Skittles.
Yeah, ruinous effigy.
Yeah.
That'll be so much fun.
Yes.
Gun. What the hell?
I love
You turn people into Skittles. You in Crucible, you roll up on them and then you turn them into Skittles, and then you take the Skittle and you pick it up and then you dunk it on the ground and then they explode.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I've never heard anyone call it a Skittle gun.
That's how it is.
So
It is.
So we do know that for similar to this season where we had Void as the main focus, next season we're gonna see Arc as the main focus because they're making Arc mods cheaper.
I built my Arc Titan last night.
Yeah, so did I have the Eternal Warrior build and I have a Cannon Brace build.
I feel it.
What'd you say, Alchemy?
Titan is going to be the new DPS meta.
Titan was already the DPS meta. What do you mean?
Titan's gonna be the just meta for everything in the game.
Warcraft was already the meta. What do you mean?
Well, you got to remember, you now have a seasonal mod that you can proc pretty easily by just getting amplified, and that makes your super do more damage. And you've got Curious, so we're talking about Nighthawk levels of.
Yeah, but the problem with Thunderous Retort, the way it says in column 3, that's why no one never used Thunderous Retort back when it first came out in Season of the Seraph, I believe, or Plunder, was because it says grants bonus super damage when you're critically ruined or while amplified, and if you can't continue to continuously proc the amplify, your super isn't going to do that much damage. So it'll have unless you prime that, it's not going to be that effective.
And you also got to remember. You're with Touch of Thunder, Pulse Nades periodically send out the fucking arc things.
Arc things.
I can't remember the name of it.
Ionic Traces?
Ionic Traces, yeah.
Or Jolt?
Ionic Traces.
I mean, that works cool. I just especially for a boss like Nezzy, where you're not constantly able to react like that, I feel like it won't be as meta as you think. But we'll have to play it out. Because even when Thunderous Retort was a thing before, during Plunder, it wasn't that hot. It was no one ever used it. So I'm really excited for something like Electric Armor, where you stayed amplified longer with your Arc subclass, where that could be beneficial to the build if it is a thing. Or they're bringing back Counter Charge, which is one of my favorite mods, where you gain a stack of armor charge whenever you set a champion. Counter Charge was revolutionary when it first came out. I'm excited about it. So, and also Amped Up in the fourth column. Amped Up was so good. Gain damage resistance when you're amplified. Ooh,
yes.
Gosh. So it's going to be an interesting season. So Strand Soldier, which I'm really excited about. Your Strand weapon gains unraveling rounds whenever you gain woven mail. So Titans are constantly going to have unraveling rounds,
which indicates armor piercing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and then one that Alchemy was kind of interested in that I don't really know about. Conductive Cosmic Needle. Targets affected by Strand debuffs take increased damage from Arc and Void abilities. So this could be kind of cool if you can suspend a champion and Thunder Crash it or Nova Bomb.
No, bosses still can be affected by.
Can they?
Yes.
That's possible. Great. I haven't seen a boss be affected by Strand. Like I don't see no one throwing a tangle
a Shacklenade. It just does a bone. Like you'll see the boss not be able to do. It's like not per se special move, but like say roll kick. No. I don't know how to explain this, but like you'll see the suspend thing, the suspend animation.
Like you'll see the animation, but it doesn't actually do the thing.
Yeah, it still has to move because they're not affected by it.
We'll have to test that because I don't know how that's gonna work with that. But the one thing that I'm really excited about is squad goals in column 5, where performing a finisher while you are amplified grants amplified to everybody. Doing a finisher when you have woven mail gives woven mail to everybody, and when performing a finisher when you have devour gives devour to everybody. So that's going to be a really versatile mod that can be very beneficial for endgame content. So I'm excited to see that one pop off. Now here's the one that I really want to get everyone's feedback on because I don't know about this. I don't know how I feel about this because Bungie is making some changes to enemy shields where they're going to be changing the way they look across the board and them not have like their own distinction per character. So like to where they're like changing the entire way like the elemental shields look across the board to help with to help with accessibility features. And though I don't know about this.
I hate it.
I actually like it. Like they've already kind of implemented this already. If you look at Strand shields, they look different from every other shield in the game with that misty, like green look to it. I think that each flavor of shield will have its own appearance.
Right.
I think people are just looking at it from
is for those who have odd or visual issues, especially those who have visually like who have epilepsy and things like that are caused by visual auras and things like that. Those shields look too much like an epileptic aura and could easily cause someone to actually go into even more seizures than they already do because of this game.
So
that's the biggest complaint that I've seen.
So I hear you, and I really identify with that because I used to have seizures as a kid, and I very much want to be welcoming to everybody with that. However, and I don't mean, and I'm not trying to like just stop the whole argument out. I'm offering an alternative.
Yeah,
because especially if you look at the TWAB itself, where it shows the difference in the videos, like especially with the Minotaur, the Minotaur shield looks very much like a data shield. Looks very distinct to the Vex themselves. It feels like we're sacrificing uniqueness and fantasy for the accessibility. My counter is do what God of War did with Ragnarok. Have a whole freaking section where people with accessibilities can modify to their preference, where they brought in accessibility experts to have whole settings to toggle, not take away the fantasy from everybody. Because if this shield on this Minotaur, this Void shield on this Minotaur looks the same as a Cabal, I'm very much going to be like, this is too uniform. Why not make this a setting rather than take it away from everybody? If that makes sense.
Oh, I don't disagree with you. It's just a complaint that I've seen from individuals who I follow on Twitter who have those types of issues. Right. And I totally see where they're coming from, and I totally see where you're coming from as well. I personally don't suffer from visual based epilepsy or seizures. I don't have seizures myself, but sometimes I do, my eyes will get tired and I'll start seeing, auras and stuff like that around enemies, or heck, even just
IRL just because I'm freaking tired as heck,
Right.
or because I'm I need new glasses or whatever. So that has, for me, it has nothing to do with that. But I do want to make sure that we, acknowledge.
Recognize it. Most definitely. That's why I wanted to like handle that in a specific way because like I'm even at the Game Awards, God of War Ragnarok's team won several awards for their accessibility features. Like you can even look it up on YouTube. They had like whole systems developed, even though this was a second game in a series. They went above and beyond to have accessibility be in the forefront. Like if that's baked into the settings of the game, great, grand, wonderful. No yelling on the bus. Like we make that be.
Sorry, I was gonna say I saw Liana was tagged about the shields already because people I definitely saw people talking about the accessibility portion of it, and like I definitely feel it. Like if like accessibility is like an issue, definitely look into it. But I do wish that there was a way that it could be like baked into the game, like you're saying. Sorry, that's all I wanted to say.
I know you're fine. Yeah,
So, my perception of this whole situation is the way I look at it is twofold, right? Accessibility is one thing, right? Where you always want the game to be accessible to like people who struggle, but also there's also a conversation about uniformity and actual like information at a glance. Like right now, there's too much stuff that looks and like too much stuff going on that needs to be accounted for. Like one thing that like you get the Vex shields that look really unique to themselves, but they're all the same like distinct look, no matter the flavor, right? So whether you're fighting a Arc Vex or a Void Vex, you have the same thing. And for some people, they really can't distinguish which one is which at a glance. And that in and of itself is a limitation, at least to me. Like, I feel like when you look at an enemy, you should be able to identify the tools necessary to dispatch said enemy.
I can understand that. I feel like if they would have showed us all like 5 flavors of shields, that would have helped with this rather than just showing the comparison of the Void shield on one enemy type.
Yeah. I think another thing is like a lot of people are just jumping the gun on this. Like you haven't seen the system yet. And I hate to be that guy that's like wait for it to come out. But like legit, like I think a lot of people just need to calm down and wait until the full system comes out so you can see what different shields are gonna be like available for people to like look at over the course of the game.
And I can get behind that. And I very much want to make sure that we didn't just go, no, this is bad, Bungie bad. It's very much like, can I offer an alternative? Was my perspective on it. Like,
I get
yeah. That was my thought process. It's like, I want to make sure everyone can play this game. This game is freaking amazing. And plus, Bungie figuring out all this stuff now can lead into better advancements in the future for everything. Because what God of War did was advancements for the entire gaming community, not just for Santa Monica Studios. So like this is very much good for the entire gaming community. Shout out to Titans. We did it for the Commander. Titans have won Guardian games. We love that. Hey, good stuff. Hunters, very sorry that you tried to come out of the last minute and try to like scoop the dub, but it didn't work. We kept the dub. It was very noticeable. Like the last like 5 days, Hunters like trying to come out and swarm, and like it was like, nah, y'all ain't getting that. Y'all better calm down.
I think there's a conversation that needs to be had here about Guardian games, right? Because I hear a lot of people saying like, Hunters tried to come back. I honestly and truthfully believe that the community as a whole chose to like go out and win this for like all the like Titans, like Zavala.
Oh, there's people who did.
And a lot of people, I think a lot of people went out and played on their Titan solely for the fact that they really wanted Titans to win. So after the first week, we already knew Titans were going to win. I think these last couple of days of hunters and warlocks kind of going back and playing. I honestly just believe that's just a lot of those players that were playing on their Titan to get Titans up and get them to take the dub this season. I think this is just them coming back at the end and just turning in stuff to get the loot. Because at this point, like early this week, I'll be honest with you, there was no way, even if we won every day, Hunters were going to win. Like, it was already pretty solidified.
No.
So
Well,
I want to say
here's
that this is
now I
got
will
to just
say,
players coming in.
to the people who are like, oh, Guardian Games is rigged, Guardian Games is rigged. If Guardian Games was rigged, Warlocks would have won, as we saw at the end of the first week, because there was that whole glitch where the message went out that said Warlocks won. So if and I will be the one to say it, I think Bungie intended to rig it for Warlocks, but then they saw the press and saw that they needed to let the ball sit in the Titan court for Lance. Like, if you look at it like in terms of the scale, like the way the picture was already in the game code saying Warlocks was gonna win.
They have one for each, though. That's the thing, is that they have. I mean, you have.
That was still a weird glitch. That was still a weird glitch.
Yeah.
So but regardless, though, I don't think it was rigged. I think it might have been rigged at first, and then Bungie was like, nah. But I think the past 3 Guardian games definitely were not rigged. I feel like this was the first one where they were like, if Titans are going to kick this much butt, we're going to just let it happen. And then that happened. That's all that was. Shout out to Bungie real quick, because they did introduce, similar to what they've done for Black Lives Matter and for Pride and for Women's Month, they are introducing an Asian American, Native American, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month pin, which I think is amazing.
Hey, that's awesome.
So
that's
shout out to them.
Yo, for real.
Comes out with an emblem and a pin you can purchase in the Bungie store, and all the proceeds will be going to international community services. So that is amazing. Definitely much love to Bungie for that one. Now let's dig into these interviews, because Bungie did hop on some other podcasts and talk about things. Not only did Chris Proctor go on to the PVE podcast, but you also saw Mercules and Eric Smith go on to the Firing Range podcast. And man, oh man. So most of the stuff when it came to Proctor's interview was covered mostly in the TWAB and in the article. However, or in previous stuff, and they just sort of expanded on. The one thing that was emphasized in both interviews that I very much want to talk about across the board that made people understand, and similar to Datto's video he put out where he talked about people don't understand how game design works and what goes into game design, they very much talked about how it takes time to push out patches. It takes time to make changes. They're planning 2 seasons in advance. They aren't always able to drop everything and fix everything. Now, one thing that was not asked, and one thing that we kind of still need to side-eye Bungie for, is the way that we will have glitches, but then they'll turn off Shard Farm. But we're not going to talk about that. But when it comes to major things like Immortal, and Immortal was a big talking point on the Firing Range podcast of, why did it go out so hot? Why did they think, why didn't they nerf it before now? It was very much a situation of, they didn't think people were going to go that hard for it. They didn't think people were going to swoop in the first week and have the biggest turnout in trials history for that one SMG. And and they didn't think that was going to happen. They thought only the sweats were going to get the SMG and be done with it. But in reality, it bit them in the ass. So now they're having to go back and change it. I mean, they even said, why did they nerf it sooner? It's because once they introduced a couple of changes to it, especially when they fixed the target lock buff, the bug that was going on where it would keep the activation of target lock even after it missed a bullet.
That shit was so painful. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'll literally just be in just playing in any competitive situation, and people would be using that shit in the first few weeks of the season, and I was just so over it.
Right. So that was the big thing in regards to that. And Bungie even said once that happened and once they fixed that bug, they did see the usage rates for Immortal go down. So they didn't feel the need to like rush out some crazy patch to fix it off rip. So that was something they specifically emphasized. And in terms across the board, people need to understand that they are trying to get like the test as much as possible, but some things just happen to slip through the cracks. And they even talked about, I couldn't find it. I think it was in the TWAB where they specifically talked about, hey, like we are going to be working on stability. We know stability has been a really big problem in the game. So best believe like tomorrow, like right before the game goes live, they're going to be having an hour and a half of downtime before the patch goes live. That way they know, hey, we are trying to make stability be in the forefront. Whenever a patch goes live, you're going to see the game go down an hour and a half beforehand. They're trying to make sure stability goes back to the forefront of the game. That way the game doesn't feel like it's being held together by duct tape and prayers. So definitely be paying attention to that tomorrow, or today rather, when you see, hey, the game's down. Next time there's a patch, the game's going to be down. So make sure you get all your stuff done before an hour before, a half before reset, because otherwise you're not going to get it done. Specifically from that, and they even talked about how long does it take to get a balance, like something to come into balance. They monitor the usage rates, and one thing they even admitted, which I respect them on, Mercules did admit that usage rates don't always equate to busted. And that was respectful of them, but they don't always adhere to that. So hopefully that improves in the future. One great example was the last word crisis of Season of the Haunted, where they were supposed to nerf the damage of last word, but they accidentally doubled it. So it reigned supreme for an entire weekend of trials, and we're all like, turn it off, and they're like, no, we're not turning it off. So I hope Bungie definitely starts paying attention to that in the future.
I mean, that's not necessarily fair, though.
What do you mean?
Like,
Speak on it.
On one hand, I completely understand where the community comes from with like, this thing is out of pocket, we need to fix it, right? Especially like using this last word thing as like the perfect example, right? So people will complain, and like the second that something that they don't like is happening, they want it nerfed, right? But then they will turn around and complain that Bungie doesn't let us have fun with things. And like they're so quick to fix the things that allow us to have fun that, you know, but not fix the things that need to be fixed. Like sometimes I think a lot of players just need to sit back and check their privilege on the fact that sometimes Bungie gives you exactly what you asked for and you just don't like it. Right? Yeah. So allowing players to play with some of these broken things, if just for a little while, like, yeah, I will be the first to admit it can be a pain in the ass sometimes. But, you know, allowing players to have their fun and then fix it later is a thing. Like, I know we were talking about the shard farm earlier. I'm like, look, they let us have a shard farm for like a month one time. Like, come on, man. You can't expect them to do it twice.
See, in Season of the Haunted, it was a week. The latest one was 2 days. Well, not even 2 days, 3 hours. It was 3 hours.
Damn.
Like, we can't expect for us to get to have everything all the time. Like, we can't be happy when they do things and then be mad when they do the exact thing we asked for.
Right.
I think a lot of players need to realize that.
You want to know my least favorite part of this whole like game right now, honestly?
What's up?
Moderation, man. I'm gonna be real.
Oh, that was. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. So put a pin in that one. That'll be that's the ending topic of the evening.
Copy that.
We're gonna get to that specifically. That was another reason why I wanted to bring you on for this episode.
Copy that.
Like, we definitely gonna speak on that one right there.
Yeah.
So, I do think David has a good point though, because like people do be jumping the gun a lot. And then
people are spicy too.
The biggest thing that I saw that was really cool about the Firing Range podcast interview, they did say they're going back into the game and making it so Zoom no longer affects damage fall off, because Zoom affects so many different things across the board, from stability to damage to range sometimes, and that they're making it so it no longer affects damage fall off, and they're going to have damage fall off set for different ranges for every gun in the game. So that is going to be a crazy thing they're introducing in season 22. Definitely look out for that.
Possible fusion nerf.
We haven't heard anything yet. But in terms of this change specifically, that does mean certain guns like BXR Battler are returning to their original Zoom. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. There's a lot of math that goes into that. I highly recommend looking at that episode of the Firing Range podcast to see like Merc go through all the math. But I'm excited for this change because it definitely means that Zoom will play less of a factor when it comes to different guns. Yeah. Zoom is a whole can of worms that like needs to be deciphered for people. Now, let's talk about how Panda was right. Oh boy. So all you motherfuckers, all y'all in my TikTok comments, all of y'all who are giving me crap on Twitter, all of y'all who were saying that Titans are busted, Titans don't need to be fixed the way you're talking about, Titans are fine, we have neutral exotics that are busted, so Titans are fine, we don't care about your arguments, you're stupid. Listen here. So, Drew from the Fire Range podcast asked ability developer Eric Smith about like specific. I even pulled up the quote because I wanted to read it verbatim in terms of this real quick. I wanted to read it verbatim. So Drew asked him specifically, was there any like future intentions into nerfing barricade more? Because especially in high skill brackets, you saw people like very much using barricades like offensively to be a menace in PvP. Yeah. Eric Smith's specific thoughts on barricade's current strength. Yeah, barricades are good. I agree. I think we want it to be good, but I agree that it needs to be balanced. We did a nerf on the cooldowns by 33% in Lightfall, but we're willing to look at it if we deem it to be too good, including the health, which hasn't really been touched in a while. Which that's a lie because they did change. Not a lie. It's incorrect. They did change the health of certain barricades with the Titan's rampart nerfs. Yeah. So that's incorrect, but the rest of his statement basically also says barricades currently take more damage from special weapons, and he even got their feedback on that, like which I've been saying for months, that the barricades across the board could be one shot by fusion rifles, could be damaged significantly by sniper rifles, could be damaged by shotguns. You definitely could take out most barricades with special weapons. But people didn't like that. People thought it was stupid. And then specifically, Eric Smith says, yeah, that's fair. It's a hard one with barricades because with Titans, it really feels bad when they pop a barricade and it instantly disappears. Well, he even specifically talks about class envy, where you see people across the boards, like hunters will go, hey, I don't like that they get a barricade. Titans will go, hey, I don't like that they get a dodge on every class. Every subclass, or both classes will say we don't like how warlocks get to heal from their rifts or get empowered from their rifts. There's class envy across the board, and which I've been saying for months that this is not a normal FPS. This is almost like this is an RPG. There are going to be multiple different factors that make this game different, and everyone gave me shit for it. And look, a dev even confirmed I was right.
Yo, okay. I've realized that the moment that you start speaking too much fucking sense in this community, people just fucking cannot like compute it with their brains, and they will shit all over you.
Well, it's so funny too. Like literally,
every damn time.
Yes,
every damn fucking time.
Every time. And there were so many people who were like, "Oh, your KD's too low. We don't want to hear from you."
Man.
There were people that would say, "Oh, Arc Titans are busted. Your argument is flawed." And Eric Smith even says in the episode of the podcast, he says that Arc Titans are the best subclass in the game. And I agree, Arc Titans are very oppressive. But what about the rest of the subclasses? Like, literally, Solar Titan is unusable. Stasis Titan is a meme. Strand Titan, like no one uses because it only has one exotic that makes it accessible. Void Titan is only used for the bubble. Otherwise, until no backup plans rolls out tomorrow, no one like Void Titan has been unusable besides the bubble. The only reason why people think Titan is oppressive is because of the neutral game exotics. If you gave Peacekeepers to any other...
Shoulder charge is why I think it's broken right now, but they're nerfing it.
Well, now let me ask you this. Prior to this nerf, what made you think shoulder charge was busted?
I'm literally playing on my Titan right now. Okay.
Okay, speak on it.
Okay, so basically, the reason why this shit needed to get nerfed is because I can just fucking like Icarus dodge everywhere with this thing. I can start running and just go boom, and then run again, and then go boom, and then start running, and it doesn't take any melee energy at all. So one of my biggest complaints, and like honestly, I would call myself just a Guardian at this point. I used to be a Hunter main, then I switched to Warlock. I've been playing on Warlock for 2 seasons, but I build on my Titan, and sometimes I get bored and I play, but I'm just a Guardian. But the reason why I felt like specifically that shoulder charge shit needed to be nerfed is because you can just get around. It like negates so much, like it just feels so non-competitive to just roll up in a game and all of a sudden like you're a Warlock who like has Icarus and you have a fucking cooldown on in-air dodge, but then this Titan just goes shoom, shoom, shoom,
now, let me ask
and it's
you
like
this.
in mid in like 10 seconds and you're like, okay, bro, whatever, man. I guess I'll just fucking switch subclasses then.
Now, let me ask you this specifically. You specifically said run. You have to run to make the shoulder charge occur.
Yes, I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right now. It's so fast.
So rather than them taking away your melee energy, why not extend the run timer? That would have made more sense. And
what do you mean? What do you mean? The runtime, like how long it takes to proc?
Exactly. Because that would have made more sense. And also, when you look at your shoulder,
it's too free. It's too fucking free.
It's too free as a movement tool. I will get behind
I'm playing it. It's so good.
Right, but let me explain though. You have shoulder charge. A move that wasn't originally meant to be specifically for movement. It was originally meant to be a damage-causing tool. It was nerfed into the ground, so people adapted it to be a movement tool. Then, even when you look at it from a damage aspect, it's supposed to be a melee. A melee. When you use it now, the animation is too slow. The damage is next to nothing unless you use a pair of pants. Across the board, almost every Titan melee does next to nothing unless it is augmented by an exotic. So for them to do this makes almost every Titan melee not worth it. So
here's my Titan hot take with it. You're a Titan and you have a barricade that's broken and you can put the barricade up and it's literally you're the wall of the city. You're the wall of the last city, bruh. Mm-hmm. Like, come on. Like if people like we're not supposed to be running around. There's a reason why people don't go past like 50 mobility on their Titan and Crucible because you just want your fucking barricade up like as much as you can. Because
answer me this: you didn't respond to what I said about the melees. If you look across the board to every Titan melee, unless you used Synthoceps or Dune Marchers, they're not usable.
I'm using Dune Marchers right now. So, like, I mean, I see you, but at the same time, I'm hoping that,
I see you, but, like, you're wrong. That's what you just did.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that I don't really know what it's going to look like because they're saying you just, like, it's going to take some of the melee energy away, and I'm not really sure. Is it 50?
They said 15%. 15. 1-5.
Okay. I thought you said 50. 50. I was like, damn. I wonder what... Okay, so, like, what does that make of, like... So I have 100 melee right now. So, like, what do you think that would look like with the cooldown? So they said
specifically, if you have a tier 10 melee, that means it will be 7 seconds for you to get your shoulder charge back. So not only you have to wait 7 seconds to get the shoulder charge back, you have to then initiate the shoulder charge by running.
All right, look, I'm in Crucible right now. I'm in Crucible. What? Oh, hold up. So if I dodge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dodge again. I mean, I feel like you just have to definitely use your abilities more carefully, but I still think that with it being so short of a timer that it'll still be useful. So we'll just have to see.
But I think my biggest problem that I still stick with is not only that we need to stop trying to say that barricades need to be nerfed more. Which the dev even agreed with me on. I think.
Oh my God! Have you seen Tony? He hates barricades so bad.
Bro, I'm gonna get him on at some point. But specifically with the Titan melees, I think we need to stop taking neutral exotics like Doom Marchers and Synthoceps into account, and we need to look at the melees themselves, because you have every Warlock melee that doesn't require a exotic to do well, like you already talked about earlier. Lightning Surge can one shot an entire team if done correctly.
Yeah.
Almost every throwing knife, if done correctly, can one shot or do at least do big damage with an explosive knife.
Yeah.
I mean, but when you use a throwing knife, that actually requires a little bit of skill.
Correct, but they still function correctly versus the Titan melees.
And if you whiff it, that's it.
Exotics.
Yeah.
But if you whiff your throwing knife, that's it though.
Right. But I
you don't get a second try.
Right. I get you on that argument. I actually think they should do more things with knives similar to what they did with the strand knife, where you can re-catch it or call it back. I think they should do that. But then that becomes busted because people who are just busted in general get too many knives. But what I'm trying to convey here is they need to re-examine Titan melees separate from the neutral game exotics. That's the biggest issue across the board, is that we need to re-examine Titan melees outside of the environment of Synthoceps and Doom Marchers. Because that way people will see, wow, Panda's right. These melees suck. And it will make so much sense. Everyone acts like I'm stupid and I'm on crazy pills. But in reality, Titans have a lot of fundamental problems that no one's taking a look at. And I find it so hilarious.
There's a lot.
Every class has a fundamental flaw that nobody pays attention to. With Hunters, I feel like a lot of people are quick to call for a Hunter dodge nerf. Yesterday. People still to this day. Right now, you can jump on any Crucible match, and there's going to be 5 people that are like, oh my God, nerf dodge. When other classes get a form of a dodge way more often, nobody ever talks about it. Like Warlocks, you get Icarus Dash once every 3 seconds.
Yeah, and then the shoulder charge right now, currently, it's the same.
But it's a thing. Everybody else is expending something. It costs something to get that mobility or that usage. With Hunters, they gave us that Stompy nerf buff shenanigans. I don't know what people call it, but where now we have to decide on whether or not we want to use our dodge in combat or get that buff. Nobody else's exotics require that kind of
I'll be the first to
call.
say that doesn't feel super. I wish they wouldn't have done that. And I play so much competitive or trials.
That's a hell of a topic, because we already spoke on that one, and I'll be the one to say it. Hunters needed something. Either to be the AE or it needed to be y'all took some kind of penalty. Because it also, the other reason why I say that is because y'all wanted us to take the penalty for the melee. Y'all take the penalty for the Stompies, because
think about this though.
What about the big 3 though? You've got Transversive Steps, you've got Dune Marchers, you've got Stompies. You have these 3 exotics that do so much for all the classes, and one of them just got hit. So you've got Stompies where you have to hold your dodge.
Dune Marchers is getting hit.
Dune Marchers getting nerfed. I'm wearing them right now, but they're getting nerfed tomorrow. Yeah. So you have these, but so that just leaves Transversive Steps, which is buffs your sprint, buffs your slide, buffs your reload, and you can just reload for free. But that's the only thing that hasn't been hit yet. So I'm wondering what's gonna happen with those, because they're still really useful.
To be fair, Transversives, if you look at Trials Report, hasn't seen that much play. The big thing was Ophidians, and Ophidians was the whole dang package where you got Synthosep reach, you got stability, you got reload speed,
it was handling. Yeah, the shotgun handling shit where you just whip.
So now you only get the gun buff. You don't get the reach buff too. So I think that's going to make Ophidian see a drop in usage, which will make it be more balanced. I
don't think they were too out of band. Like honestly, like minus the melee range, they weren't really that much of a problem. I think a lot of people just didn't like to go against them and the rubber banding that they were causing. Honestly,
that's what happened with Knockout too. Was like people got tired of the other rubber bandings that they nerfed Knockout too. Next thing on top of blocking Synthosips.
Like I will forever stand with the fact that certain exotics, especially stuff like Stompies and neutral game exotics that don't really give you any edge outside of allowing you to like cater to your own particular playstyle. They don't require nerfs. I think people just need to learn to like play around with things.
The reason why I think Stompy specifically needed something, whether it was the AE, like a balancing of it, or this, is because Stompies was the most used exotic, even post nerf, because people didn't want to let it go, and it has such a high skill curve to where even because yes, it's just a mobility exotic supposed to help you jump higher, but the ability for you to have perfect accuracy while jumping over somebody, and not everyone can. And they even said specifically in the nerf patent notes that on controller it feels specifically hard to be able to counter if someone jumps over your head with a shotgun and has perfect accuracy. They're getting no penalty. You're not able to always counter that, and you're just dead. That's why that was the biggest thing that every streamer and every person talked about. Was this is why Stompies is meta, because it gives you the ability to be out of reach of everybody. You could be high up in the air and have no penalty, and you would be able to ruin people. And it was a high skill curve system. So there needed to be something to rein Stompies in to put it on the same level as other exotics, because up until then, even up until Solar 3.0, no one used anything but Stompies, and the people were like, oh, Stompies caught a little bit of a nerf. What else is there? Oh, Gemini Jester, Spine of Ahamkara. There's other things that we can use.
Spines are so gross.
You right.
And Omni. Omni Oculus is disgusting. I had a quad 100 build.
Omni used to be gross. Omni was.
It's still gross. I went flawless with it. At the start of this last season. It's still gross on this system. I have a triple 100.
Before they nerfed it, it was really gross.
I used it the entire time. I had a quad 100 build. Rip. I miss it.
Because specifically,
I would special joust. I would special joust with it. I would literally use the smoke at the start. I would smoke the team, pull out Glacial Chasm, go invisible, and just special joust people, and they wouldn't even know I was there. It was really messed up, and I would have resist ×4 the entire time.
Right. So that's what I'm saying specifically is once Stompies got reined in a little bit, you saw hunters going, what else is in the closet? And it was you saw diversity. But even with the diversity, you still saw on Trials Report.
The hunters looked into the void, bro.
The highest thing.
I'm going to tell you, though, but you got to think about this, not from the perspective of they're just that good. Honestly, it just shows that other hunter exotics are just shit. I'm sorry.
Look at Omni. Look at Athra's Embrace. Look at Kefri's Sting. Look at Spine. These exotics were good.
Exotics. These are all decent exotics. But you got to think about this. For the vast majority of people using, Stompies, it's not because Stompies are just so out of band amazing. It's because it allows for a certain particular type of play style, right? It allows for a play style that's very fast paced that the Crucible loves, right? It allows people to play the way they want, but that's why, because the hunters don't have very many options to really play hunter.
Is what I'm saying. You had
as far as Like Omni Oculus, that's fucking void, but it also
It's still
is
gross, I
really
promise.
one of those things that benefits more of a team playstyle. Like,
Right.
granted,
For
it gives you, and it requires you to like really morph your build around the Omni, and that isn't the playstyle that most hunters want to run. Most
Right.
hunters like that run and gun, get in your face, and execute. That's
So
how
there had to be some
that's
way
how it
to
goes.
rein that in, is what I'm saying. There had to be some
You
way to
don't
rein that
have
in.
to rein in the exotic. You change the way, you change the behavior, right?
What do you mean?
The like perfect example, right? During was season of the Splicer, season of the Lost, you had a really heavy fusion rifle shotgun meta, right? But
Yeah.
then they changed how players play the game. Objective-based game modes. For the longest time, the best way to go about control was to cap 2 points and then just go play Clash and ensure that the other team didn't cap a point. That was the best way to do it.
What does that have to do with
And
zombies?
because
You still have a
Stompies
run and gun playstyle
allows,
with that.
yeah, exactly. Because you can run and gun without having to worry about the objective, people opted for a more fast-paced, like one-shot kill meta. And hunters excel at that kind of meta,
Okay,
right?
so let me
But
ask
when you
this.
take away stuff like that and you move toward more objective-based game modes, like Dominion, right? You don't very much see a lot of like shotgunning, fusion rifle,
That's a
hurry
damn
up and
lie.
run to the point,
That's a damn lie.
because you have a lot of people zoning and laning. Well, that's the reason why you hear so many PvP content creators talking about how much they hate Crucible now, because it's so slow and they are forced to play in a laning, slow, methodical like range. They can't just run around like chickens with their heads cut off.
I've definitely seen some of our peers. I've definitely seen some of our peers saying some similar sentiments, you know, like where they're saying like people have been a little frustrated with the pulse rifle meta, especially like in trials for a little while.
That's what I was gonna say, is that it wasn't because of the capture zones. It was because we finally saw an era where pulse rifles and auto rifles and SMGs could combat hand cannons. Because if you remember about a year ago, not a year ago, but like a little bit before a year ago, where we had the 30th anniversary prior, all you saw in this meta was hand cannons and shotguns. And
it was so good.
It was so toxic. It was so toxic.
I miss my adept palindrome. I have an adept palindrome with 1,000 kills on it.
And Bungie finally said, "Hey, why not let's buff like pulse rifles, scout rifles, auto rifles, SMGs? That way they can compete and not just be in people's vaults."
I want to go back. I want to go back.
They finally said, let's put these weapons on the same the totem pole as each other and have a healthy meta. They finally said, let's be able to have this. And then people were like, no, we don't. Like, they're being like Pandel. They're like saying, hey, no, I want to go back to this, where certain guns were now, like certain archetypes were nowhere near able to compete. That's not healthy.
That's my
point. Guess how many kills I have on my Fatebringer, my time lost Fatebringer.
How many?
Fucking 4,000 plus.
But like even right now, if you look at Trials Report right now, you have 2 SMGs, which they're the same fucking SMG. You have Cloud Strike, you have No Time, you have Matador, Le Monarch, Beloved, Rose, Crimson, and Yo, which that's a pretty diverse pool.
Is that actually really what it is right now? Is that really what it is right now, for real?
Yeah, I'm looking at Trials Report right now.
Oh shit! I'm looking right now with you now. Okay.
So like, if you look at previous weeks, there would be things like straight hand cannons, straight like shotguns and whatnot, straight sniper rifles.
Look. They can't complain because there's still Crimson and 2 shotguns, the shoddy mains. They can't complain.
Right. Even a few weeks ago when Burnout was a thing, Ace of Spades was on the top. Was on the top block. Like Ace of Spades was on the top block the week before that. Like we're in a diverse meta where there's finally like an equilibrium of different guns able to compete with different things. And in this,
now you see my point, though. Now you see my point. is that they changed the behavior. People can't just like it's not a mindless strat to run around shotgun fusion. You gotta have a little skill for it now. And that's why only people that are really skillful and confident in their ability to hear those skills run that kind of playstyle. Look how far you have to go down just to find your first hand cannon and your first shotty. Like, look, it's more of.
What do you mean? They
like,
are 1, 2,
they're
3,
at
4,
the
5,
top-
6, 7, 8. Shotgun is Matador is number 5 and Rose is number 8.
That's a pretty far cry from where it used to be.
Yeah,
And
right.
that isn't that great. Like, but even that's like skill of using shotguns isn't as pervasive as it used to be.
Correct.
Like, it's not like people are turning corners and you get shotgun and you get fusion rifled every corner you turn, every wall you jump over. You're not seeing the over the top like crutch weapons as they are. Like, a lot of people are having a lot more room to experiment and play at farther ranges with different play styles that are being put out there.
If you look at the exotic list right now specifically, you have you have Ophidians, Doom Marchers, and Stompies at the top of the board, where Ophidians is the 12.7 of the entire Warlock meta. Doom Marchers is 10.6 of the entire Titan meta, and Stompies is 9.8 of the entire meta. And Stompies almost is always at the top of the board, where Spawn and which prior to recently, with the different changes that occurred with AE, you never saw anything different in terms of usage. If anything, it was higher compared to Spine being up there now. Wormhusk is seeing a little bit of play, and if you look at it, those three are the only ones near the top. You have like Oath Keepers at the bottom because of things like Le Monarch, Backrus, and Dragon Shadow towards the bottom. You like if we were in a healthy meta, you would like for hunters, you would see what's happening with Warlocks and Titans, where you have Doom Marchers, Peacekeepers, Synthoceps, Antaeus Wards, Peregrine Greaves, One-Eye Mask, Armamentarium, like so much diversity. Warlocks, Ophidian Aspect, Transversive Steps, Osmiomancy Gloves, like there's more diversity across the board on the top of the scale versus Stompies, which are just there. And it's like, why isn't there more diversity?
You see that not because Stompies are so good, but because the Hunter playstyle is the same. No matter what subclass you pick, your fundamental core playstyle remains the same.
So it's an easy pickup, is what you're saying.
Move, and communicate. That's it. That's what hunters do. It's an easy pickup, but also it complements the vast majority of players' like playstyle. Like, there aren't very many PvP builds for hunters to use outside of Spine or like Omnioculus that are very like specific. And don't do well in.
Sting gives you wall hacks.
The vast majority of players don't require wall hacks. The vast majority of like Crucible players are playing sixes, and like shit, every time you turn the corner, you get fucking killed.
Backrus.
You don't need wall hacks to know that somebody's there. Backrus requires
you
stasis.
Ain't need wall hacks
Stasis isn't even that good of a kit.
Dragon Shadow.
Dragon Shadow used to be really high, but that costs you your dodge, and nobody's going to use that because it requires you to even get the benefits of it, which the vast majority of people are running primaries anyway now because of the meta. You know, nobody's really running weapons that need to be reloaded all the time.
That's fair. I will still say, though,
these exotics aren't necessarily good, but the Hunter kit, and this is something I like really need people to understand. The Hunter kit as a subclass, what is the difference between a Invis Hunter and a Gunslinger Hunter? It's just the fact that one of them can go invisible with their dodge, and the other one gets a gun like 3/4 of the way through the fucking match that goes a little crazy.
Well, and they have a bunch of different types of different knives that can change things.
All I got is a fucking smoke bomb on my boy.
You can make with solar. You can go radiant with your dodge and cause more damage.
Nobody's using that. That requires your dodge to be on a minute and a half cooldown.
Fair enough.
I need that dodge.
But what I'm saying is there had to have been something done to Stompies to diversify the pool, and I think Bungie found the counter. So
I think they should have just made the hunter kits more diverse and given hunters more utility inside of our class, so that hunters can use more of the space magic aspect and less of the bare bones like FPS shooting core of our kit. Because at the end of the day, that's about it. Like, we don't have stuff like shoulder charge or stuff like Bastion and Icarus or Knockout or Juggernaut to really kind of spice up our kit. We got Arthur's Embrace that makes our Thorn Knife better. We got to use an exotic to really kind of make that more consistent, quote unquote. But our kit, all the same, like, we get a little bit of Radiant. Everybody gets a little bit of Radiant from using a melee. Like, our kit is a bare bones FPS reflex. And Stompies really plays to that. And so a lot of players would rather have that burst of mobility to get around and like really take those angles over an exotic that really just like makes the ease of use of other parts of our kit better.
I will still say though, even if you gave hunters the most diverse pool next to Titans and Warlocks, you would still see some Stompies at the top of the board, which is why this nerf was necessary. Like,
I can prove to you that's not true.
Ooh, okay. We'll have to work on that. Gerfalcons, yes. Gerfalcons, yes. I will give you that.
The second Gerfalcon came out and it gave hunters something that they could sink their teeth into to change up how they played their kit. You start seeing fucking Rat King come out of perks. You start seeing all kinds of shit come out of nowhere.
Where it could shred everybody and the invis was busted. That was a problem.
It was. I agree. But
Omnioculus, Lord of Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, I still say Lord of Wolves should have been left alone. Omnioculus was the problem. But anyway, we will continue our war of the Titan versus the Hunter another day. We have more to talk about. Like the finally. The pain will subside soon because the Monarch is being nerfed. Praise God.
That's my Monarch.
It isn't happening until season 22 or late 21, but praise God, it is happening.
All right, so I will be a grandma. Okay, no, just kidding.
Like it was just really great because finally Bungie understood that the potential for this bow to one shot you with that poison was too much.
It's ridiculous. You could get one shot.
It was too much. It needed to happen. So praise Bungie.
Which I find crazy. Still skeptical though. I'm still a little skeptical now.
So what they specifically said is they're dropping the poison time from 3 seconds to 1.5 seconds, and they're dropping the actual damage of the gun like down a little bit to make it more similar to lightweight bows. So that's gonna make it so much more balanced.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to mess around with it. But I'm telling you, with this Oathkeeper shenanigans coming,
this whole season is gonna be a menace. This whole season is scary.
I genuinely believe that it's just gonna make it 100 exotic. I honestly believe so.
They did say that some guns they are going to be keeping an eye on for possible changes are Vex, because the Eye of Sauron apparently is on a Vex at all times, because while it is hard to obtain, it can be very much a menace when used correctly. Crimson has seen some up in usage, despite Crimson really never having a buff or a nerf of any kind. People just randomly noticed, hey, we don't need to pay 5 for an unflinching or targeting hand cannon thing anymore. We can just put in kinetic targeting or kinetic unflinching and not have to worry about it anymore. So Crimson's worth using again. And now it's worth people actually putting effort into. So they're looking at possibly nerfing Crimson soon. I'm sad, but it's fine.
They're going to nerf it, huh?
Fine.
Cloud Strike is being kept an eye on solely because of how dominant it was, even on a map like Cauldron. They don't want to nerf it. They like that it plays into the fantasy, but the fact that
I used that shit this weekend.
Yeah, the fact that it was so dominant is kind of a concern. They are
That's
looking
just
at buffing.
players grouping up too much.
They are looking to buff Black Talon, which has some people excited. I like the idea of that. Alchemy, what were you gonna say?
That's just because, well, I don't see the problem with Cloud Strike. It's just the fact the perk is just allowing people. It's just punishing people that group up too much, and people are mad they can't team shoot when there's a Cloud Strike.
But like specifically on a map like Cauldron, where it's so confined, that's what Merc was saying. He was like, "Hey, this is a very confined map. You really shouldn't see snipers on this kind of map." But even then, Cloud Strike saw high usage because of how easy it is to use now. So that's why it was a concern. Lightweight shotguns are possibly going to see their upper pellet and their bottom pellet moved inward to help secure shots. I love this because it has been sad seeing lightweights take such a hit recently. Granted, I love seeing my favorite shotgun Matador be as dominant as it is? Yes. But would I love to see lightweights like Wastelander make a comeback? Yes. So we will have to see how that plays out.
Oh my dear.
They did talk about that when it comes to Blink on both Hunter and Warlock, they are eyeing some different changes. Specifically because Blink is hard to track and also work with different clients. So they'll have to see how that works in the future. They would love to buff them, but it's hard to balance them. That was the big thing. They are keeping an eye on glaives in the future because they want to make glaives be in a healthy space, but they're hard to balance. So that's something to keep an eye on in the future. We are getting our first ever PvP focused glaive with the Trials glaive this season. So we'll have to keep an eye on that specifically.
I'm going to have some fun with that.
We are going to be seeing on mouse and keyboard specifically, No Time to Explain and other high impact pulse rifles be taking a hit. They are going to see their range reduced a little bit specifically, but they don't want to punish mouse and keyboard players because Merc even said specifically when it comes to No Time to Explain, if you look at the usage rates, you see No Time to Explain dominating 30-ish% of the Crucible versus mouse and keyboard where it's around 12% on a controller. So there's definitely a very large divide when it comes to how dominant it is. So they're going to be trying to balance the range on it specifically on MNK. And in terms of that's across the board with high impact pulse rifles. They don't want to take them fully out of the meta. They want to fix the ease of use on mouse and keyboard. So look out for that in the future. Now, final topic of the evening and why I wanted to bring Panda on the show, because some of y'all still haven't learned. And I know that things in the world aren't the greatest right now. You got people trying to get rid of us queer folk, but as many of y'all know, I don't know what's up with Deva. He's just here hiding in the corner. But the majority of this cast is queer, if you haven't noticed yet. And when it and Dava's a good ally, so he gets to hang out. So in general, when it comes to this, I really want to talk about this specifically when it comes to Destiny 2, because while there are a lot of issues going on in the world, you would think by now in a game like Destiny 2, where the main Titan is voiced and probably before he was turned into an Awoken was a black man. You have a black female in a major role like Ikora being the leader of an entire class. You have multiple LGBTQIA plus people in the franchise, including the most played PvP mode, Trials of Osiris, themed after a gay man and ran by his gay lover. You have
spill that shit for real.
That's the big one specifically. But
it's
in general,
so fucking frustrating, bruh.
There's so much like homophobia and transphobia running rampant in this community, and it is bothersome. Specifically, I don't know how many times where I have the pride emblem on when I'm playing trials where people will call me the F slur. I had one dude literally join my LFG. He was like, "Hey, yo, Panda, you gay?" I'm like, "Yeah," because he saw my emblem. He was like, "Fuck you," and left. And I was like, "What?" And then there was another match where I got an LFG together, and we were in mid match. One dude left because he was AFK, and I was stuck with this one dude on mic, and he called the dude who was AFK the F slur, and I'm like, "Hey, yo, man, let me ask you this: you're playing a mode where the mode is themed after two gay people." And you're playing with someone who has a pride emblem on, and you think saying the F slur is a good idea. And he said, "I don't care, words are words." And I straight up kicked him from my fire team because I was like, nah. And then I got hate mail that I sent to Bungie, never got a response about on Twitter. I sent it to them where he was in my DMs on the Bungie on the Destiny app calling me Panda the F slur.
Yo, like, this makes my blood boil, man. This shit makes my blood boil.
And
because...
go ahead, Pano. This is ridiculous.
It's like that shit times 11 all the time with this game. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it is so shit. And like, here's the fucking the whole problem is that it feels like that when you do actually have like evidence of some serious bullshit that went down on their servers, either on their messaging, or you have like really clear cut fucking like, hey, this is a fucking bigot who's just like harassing people on Twitter, TikTok, all these fucking places, but they don't give a shit. They don't do anything. They don't have any policies in place for like offline like moderation where it's like really clear cut that it's like somebody's being like really bad. And I feel like that even within the game where like, okay, so on my half, instead of a raid LFG, I've like done freaking I've basically just played trials where people invite you to parties and like horrible stuff like that. And I've been invited to parties and T-slurred. You know what I'm saying? Like, just instantly. And I'm just like, and then they just like kicked. You know what I mean? Like, people are fucked up. Like, people are fucking freaks who play trials sometimes. And they're really fucked up and they'll message you. And like, you'll play a game of trials and like, they'll like message your friends in your fire team and shit. People are fucked up. There's no streamer mode in this game. Mm-hmm. There's literally no way for me to like on Fortnite, I can literally go and turn streamer mode on where people it's just like whatever, like what does it say, like anonymous or some stupid shit. Like you can do that. And I feel like in the fact that like Destiny is so stupid, like you just can't like protect yourself like in game from people like harassing you because they like know your username. That shit sucks too. But just like the LFG, like the toxicity and wearing a pride emblem where like you're like if you're in trials or like competitive settings and you wear pride emblems, you get kicked from scrims, you get kicked from fucking literally like different communities because you're fucking wearing a pride emblem, and like people, like you said, be horrible to you in LFGs. It's just bullshit. And it's like like, you know, like I've heard just every story of this where like, you know, you put on the pride emblem, get targeted.
And like it sucks, and like it blows my mind, and and I want to be really, really critical. If anyone from Bungie is listening to this, because like I hope you are, because this isn't us like saying, "Oh, you guys are horrible," yada yada. This is us specifically saying we want change. We want to be able to be in a safe space. There should be no reason why if we what was the tower?
We need protection.
Right.
We need to protect ourselves.
If we specifically provide you with evidence, there should be retribution.
Right. So here's a segue into that if anyone from Bungie is listening. So basically, like if Right now, there is a cheater form a suspected cheater form that you can write if somebody's cheating, and if you have evidence, you can submit it. But there's no place like that. And we tried to like do some looking around, and like the Guardian Mental Health, like there's like this whole website and like everything about cyberbullying, and like there's links, and it's like, yeah, you can submit things here, but it doesn't. Like the loop doesn't really actually come back around to like an actual legitimate Bungie form. So like you can't actually submit anything that's like hate speech from anywhere.
There should specifically be a hate speech section on their report system, but there's not. That like there's legitimately there's no like especially even in the game. There's no.
there's no
form.
In-game reporting, the most you can do is like griefing.
Like, bro,
Like,
I'm gonna feel so gross.
Name.
I'm gonna feel so gross for this, but I have to give freaking Blizzard props for something. After what they've done recently, I have to give Blizzard props. Where they have, if you look at their reporting system, they specifically have it set up where you can report hate speech. Because there was one time where I was playing Overwatch match and I straight up saw in different like dialect letters with different accents, someone just typed straight up N-word hard R as their username. And I was like, wow. So like they have a system where you can report hate speech, but Bungie, despite having Asian representation pins, women representation pins, BLM representation pins, trans emblem, pride emblems,
Be Heard emblems, all this shit that we wear,
you have no hate speech reporting.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm wearing my Be Heard emblem right now.
Like, where is the hate speech reporting system? There should be that, like, it should be for your own team and for other teams. Because especially if we're able to report Bungie DMs, like in-app, like Destiny app DMs, and there's no retribution, that's a problem. And even if there's if a community manager is like, oh, we're always watching, that doesn't make anybody feel good.
Also, I feel like this shit, like, everyone is getting so brave with the shit that they're willing to do because, like, they know that Bungie won't really, like, do anything. Like, they know that they can keep harassing people and being shitty to fucking other people. And the biggest, easiest target is, well, if you're in a competitive setting and you see people with pride emblems, people are just shitty. And, like, I've just, like, gotten messages unsolicited from people. I'll have my trans emblem on. I got a message one time, and Xbox is so unbelievably fucking toxic. I cannot even describe it. People will just send me Xbox messages, and I turn this shit off. And because Discord has a setting that makes it so that I have to it basically makes it so that I have to have everyone message me if I want to use Discord through Xbox. It's so stupid. I hope they fix it soon. But whenever I change my settings, people start sending me messages. And one time somebody sent me a message and it was just trans with like a puke emoji. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, bro,
I'm playing a game. I'm playing a fucking game, bro. I'm playing a game of 6v6. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Like you guys have no fucking life, bro? Seriously?
Power, speak on it.
Okay, so kind of on the line that you were talking about is that like I got messages when I first started playing when I would because I was a Gambit main for the first 2 years that I played this game. So I actually would get like Xbox messages of people literally just saying gay, 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 and I'd be like, yeah, I am, and your point.
Jesus.
It's not 2002 no more. How old are you? 12? Like that's my only answer to people like that. And I just like you, like I had to change all my settings on Xbox, private, offline, on in game as well. I have my fire team always set to invite only, friends requests to close, like unless I specifically send a friend request to you, ain't no way you're going to be able to find me.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to deal with that BS. Heck, someone came into my Xbox DMs a freaking minor because of my name, and they started asking me if I wanted to be their mommy, and like
Jesus.
in the not safe for work way. And I'm like, no, honey, no child, goodbye.
You're like, please never talk to me again. Goodbye.
Right?
Like I want to like specifically end this on like this. There was a situation that happened outside of like Bungie accessible means. So like this one is less directed at Bungie and more directed at the community that listens to the show. If y'all don't understand that this game is supposed to be a queer safe space, you really don't know how to look. And like I've heard it from some people that like, oh, it's just a game, bro. Like, have you not realized that even if Bungie's reporting system needs work, that these people do want diversity in their game? Like the amount of hate that I get for wanting like I actually had a legit person on TikTok once tell me like they didn't understand why people thought Saint Osiris were gay. They were brothers. They were like friends. And I'm like, bro, you don't know how to read subtext whatsoever.
Oh my god!
And what was it about a week ago on a Facebook group? Someone who actually just joined the clan, the podcast clan, specifically was like, hey, I'm looking for an LGBT safe space to play the game. And I kid you not, the first person to comment, all caps, periods after each letter said, nobody cares if you're fucking gay. First of all, you obviously care because you took the time to type that. Second of all, in terms of the safety of people, like in terms of the safety of people, like there should be safe spaces. Like this idea that a lot of clans like to promote, they're like, oh, we accept everybody, yada yada. No. There needs to be emphasis on an LGBT safe space. We have trans people's rights being taken away. We have queer people in general having their rights taken away. That like we have women being attacked. We have people of color being attacked. The rise of violence against trans women or especially trans women of color is skyrocketing. Like
it's scary. It's scary.
So like the idea that you can
makes me want to cry.
It sucks. And
makes me want to cry, man.
Like and when we can't have a safe space to play the game, but you want to come into a comment section and say something like that. And then there was one dude who was all like, "Oh, people want to just be known by whatever words they want." Like, no, the people want to be known by the words that are true to them, that are their true selves. And then, like, the fact that you don't get that means that you don't understand that the world is evolving. So, like, I need y'all to step up or get the heck out of my game because I'm gonna keep going to the lighthouse and seeing my man Saint because it gives me hope every week that I do go.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes me feel like that I have the bravery to go out in the world. So like
exactly,
that's all I gotta say on that. I'm done. I'm just like I really needed to make that the emphasis at the end of the season is that we need to do better as a community. Bungie, I need some hate speech reporting system of some kind. And like Bungie, I'm even gonna like please.
Bungie, I really, really, really want you to add a form on your website, a hate speech form. You have a formal cheating form. We really, really need something that is better than what we have now, or Lightfall is going to continue to be miserable for a certain demographic of people who are the most vulnerable. Anyway, that shit just gets me so heated.
Dave, as a person of color yourself, is there anything you want to add to this before we jump off? I know, like you and I grew up in the era of Call of Duty where people thought the N-word was basic language. So, like definitely your opinion matters as much as mine.
Well, in my opinion, I personally think that people just need to get off their high horse. You know, a lot of people out there are just in this like mindset of you either are like me or I hate you. You know, they hate what they don't understand. And that is just unacceptable.
Yeah. Good way to end it. All right. Well, I'm gonna say Pandel as our guest. What is your closing statement for this episode?
Hey, I had a lot of fun just chilling with y'all. I'd love to do it again.
Most definitely.
I don't know. I wish people would like be more chill with each other and like just like about this game and like you know what I mean? Like I feel like people are always constantly so people are just cruel and I wish people would chill out cuz the game at the end of the day is about space magic and fucking there should be space within all the space magic for us to talk about our fucking shit and be real. And I just feel like people don't like I don't know, Amaze said it once. He said it's not about destiny all the time. And that shit I fucking really I fuck with that because it's not. It's
right,
like
I concur.
that's what I got.
Tower, what you got? I think Tower's dead. Oh no.
Oh dear.
Tower's muted. Oh no. Tower probably wouldn't do
Oh crap! I totally forgot I was muted.
Jesus.
Oh my
Good God, I exist. Yes, I exist. No, I totally agree that there needs to be more. There needs to be more done on the community management side, on the help side. We need a safe place. When so many of Bungie's devs themselves are queer, are trans, are gay, are lesbian, they should understand that there is a need for us to be able to create a safe space, to be heard, and to be able to report what needs to be reported in game. And, I got to agree, there's no way to do it at this point. So please, Bungie, provide us that safe space that you want to, that you are so adamant about giving us.
Amen.
We can't do it without you, and you can't do it without us.
For real.
Alchemy, speak on it.
Honestly, I agree with Tower and the other Panda. And
Panda and Panda here.
yeah. But yeah, like we need more reporting features.
Most definitely.
Stop those people because hell, you could probably somehow type out a really racist word in another language, and Bungie's none the wiser.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
David, you want to end on anything?
You know what? I will.
Go for it.
If you guys can hear me, right? Bam.
Yeah.
Because my mic was just jacked up. It just had my internet crash all over the place. It was a little weird. But to kind of speak on what you guys were speaking on a little while ago, and I'll just end it on this. Look, Destiny 2 is supposed to be a safe space for everyone to come and turn their mind off from the woes of the world. Look, this is supposed to be our place where you aren't whatever minority box you fall into or whatever majority box you fall into. You're a guardian. You are here to protect humanity and work together. Leave your politics and your madness at the door.
Yep.
Everybody needs to come into this game with love and like the spirit of helping each other. This elitism needs to go, needs to get the fuck out. I'm sorry. Elitist Dado and everybody that's like, I'm better, so I should have a better time. That shit needs to go. This, I'm better than you because you're a minority of whatever kind. That shit needs to go. Look, we're all guardians. We're all here to enjoy ourselves. And you don't get to, like, the people who enjoy causing chaos and making other people have a bad day, it is our job as guardians, it is our job as players alongside Bungie to oust those players from our community. Like, it falls on everyone.
For
so
sure.
that everyone can have a good time. Because I'll be honest with you. I'm a black man. I'm not queer, but my girlfriend's queer, and I love her dearly. But like, it is tiring to get on here and just hear people doing all of this madness and saying all of this chicanery solely to boost their own, like, what's the word I want to use? I don't want to be mean.
Clout. It's clout, dude. That's all
clout,
it is.
But it's also, you have wounded people who feel like they have no power. And the only way that they can take power is to step on other people with less power than them, to make themselves feel as if they are better than others. To give themselves that elite feeling, they have to step on those who are just not in the same place as them. Those players, there is no place for you here. Because players like you run off the community that keeps this game going. I've said it once, I've said it a billion times. The elitist community is the reason why Destiny 2 bleeds players so much.
Yes.
You're looking at Trials, the reason why Trials is in the state it's in is because it requires a casual player base, and casual players want nothing to do with it.
Yep.
The same thing for the LGBTQ plus IA. Everybody should have a place here, and we should all feel welcome, not just the few who feel like they want to feel better than others. If you want that, go play Call of Duty. Get in them sweaty ass Call of Duty lobbies and sweat your balls off. Hey, then you can talk all that shit you want. But this ain't here in Destiny. Look, we don't want you. That's my understatement.
I couldn't have said it better myself, and I believe it at that. We will be back this coming Friday for a brand new episode where we'll be talking about Season of the Deep stuff because it drops today. So make sure you hop in, go say hi to Deputy Commander Sloan. We got a dungeon dropping Friday too, so that'll be a fun. Keep in mind specifically with that, we record normally on Thursdays, so we will leave the dungeon for the following week in terms of discussion. We will only get discussion of the seasonal model on the newest episode. So keep that in mind. Unless we randomly just decide to record Friday night, which we might do if it's a dry week, we might do that. Like if the seasonal content's very short, we might do that. We'll talk about it, but that's the main plan: is Season of the Deep content first, the dungeon the following week. So keep that in mind. But we will catch you folks Starside. Peace out.